Harumi has served me well. I asked for an army, and an army I have. The Overlord. Hello, I'm Sensei the Dark Master, and welcome back to the Lore of Ninjago. In today's installment, we shall be covering the crystalline cronies, known as the Crystal Army. We shall be covering this faction's members, its history, its structure, the vehicles, creatures, abilities, and weaknesses of the faction, and much, much more. The history of the Crystal Army began shortly after Harumi's death, after being crushed by a collapsing building. She, in a purple void, is approached by an entity calling itself the Crystal King, who gave her a new chance at life in exchange for serving him. After some hesitation, she agrees, and so he brings her back to life and helps her get out of the rubble thanks to a empowering purple crystal. Under his instruction, she goes to the Oni temple in Primeval's Eye. She placed the crystal upon the altar, which causes it to grow in size and transform the temple into the Crystal Temple. Afterwards, Harumi, under the Overlord's direction, begins buying large amounts of Vin Stone, which she uses to build a large number of statues that will be relevant later. Initially, this Vin Stone was bought directly from Vangelis, the king of Shintaro, who owned large Vin Stone mines, manned by a large force of slaves controlled by the reawakened warriors. When he was overthrown by the ninja who destroyed the skull of Hazador, Harumi had to buy from harder to obtain black markets. She then began recruiting members for the Crystal King's Crystal Council. This included rebuilding Mr. E as Mr. F, freeing Vangelis and Pythor from their respective prisons, inviting Asphira and the Mechanic via crystal spiders. Eventually, after some shenanigans, Lloyd would infiltrate the Crystal Temple, but failed to stop Asphira from resurrecting the Crystal King, aka the Overlord, and he passed back into the physical world. The temple then began floating into the air, and the Overlord activates the statues into his foot soldiers, known as Vinstone Guards, which then intact and turned people of Ninjago into zombified husks of themselves as he began to attack Ninjago City. The ninja, with their vehicles enhanced by Pixel, try to fight back, but it ends poorly. Lloyd and his father Garmadon decide to go confront the Overlord directly, while the ninja, who have partially recovered, intend to make a final stand in a warehouse near the city's docks. The ninja are about to lose to the overwhelming crystal horde. However, then, their allies from Shintaro, the oceans, and even the Serpentine come in at the last moment to help them. The ninja, under the advice of Sensei Wu, realized that the prophecy of Cornish the Elder was coming true, and so performed a jump up, kick back, whip around, and spin, which unlocked their dragon form, which allows them to destroy the otherwise invincible crystalline army. They are also able to defeat the Crystal Council members, who wielded the corrupted golden weapons that they were able to restore to their proper selves. However, despite their victory, it turns out that this was all part of a broader plan by the Overlord, who revealed as he fights Lloyd and Garmadon that he intends to corrupt the elements of creation. Lloyd, in his Oni form, was able to delay the Overlord long enough for Sensei Wu and the ninja to realize what exactly was going on. Then the ninja, under Wu's advice, sacrificed the golden weapons and their elemental powers to release the original element's form, which was a four-headed golden dragon, which then proceeded to save Lloyd from falling to death, and destroy the Overlord, which resulted in the Crystal Army entirely shattering when the council members being arrested for their crimes, except Harumi, who for some reason is redeemed. Which is odd because more than any of the others, she's more guilty, but whatever. Now that we've concluded their history of the Crystal Army, let us discuss its members and structural makeup. The leader of the Crystal Army is none other than the Overlord. Yes, I'm not even going to pretend that it's the Crystal King. It's pretty obvious. He is a spirit of darkness that was the subject of my 50th Ninjago Lore video that I suggest you watch if you're interested in learning more about him as an entity. Beneath him was his herald and second in command, Harumi, who served as his first and arguably most useful member of the Crystal Council. Then there are the other members of the Crystal Council, which serve as generals for the army, such as the rebuilt ninjaroid Mr. F, the serpentine sorceress Asphira, the former king of Shintaro, Vangelis, the last Anacondri, Pythor, and the epic gamer turned villain, the Mechanic. Each of them is given one of the weapons of destruction, which are corrupted golden weapons. The nunchucks, being two, are given to two separate members for those who are curious how that works. Beneath them, and serving as the bulk of the army as foot soldiers, are the Crystal Warriors, which are sometimes referred to as Vin Stone Warriors, which themselves are divided into three subtypes. These are the Vin Stone Warriors, the Vin Stone Brutes, and the more heavily armored Vin Stone Guards. Interestingly, in the TV show, only Vin Stone Guards actually show up and are thus considered canon, which is weird because in the sets, Vin Stone Guards are actually the least numerous of the three types. That's just kind of interesting. I guess they didn't want to spend more time to make multiple models, but really it was kind of a missed opportunity, as you could have easily put all three in the show, much as how they did with the Stone Army. Alongside the Crystal Warriors, there are also the Crystal Zombies, which were innocent people transmorgified into mindless purple zombie-like entities that can turn others into more zombies, including Serpentine, via touch. In addition, there were two types of creatures utilized in the Crystal Army. First, we have the Crystal Spiders, also referred to as spider bombs. These robotic entities, in addition to resembling spiders, have three abilities, including an inbuilt recorder, which allows them to broadcast what they're seeing in the forms of a hologram. They also have lasers that they can shoot at people and can self-destruct, which when in large numbers can cause huge amounts of property damage. Then there were the large dragonites, also called the crystal beasts. These were huge dragon-like entities with great strength. In terms of weapons, the Crystal Army, also sometimes called the Vin Stone Army, had several of note. These included the weapons of destruction, which were the four golden weapons, the Sword of Fire, the Nunchuck of Lightning, the Shurikens of Ice, and the Scythe of Crakes, corrupted and given new crystalline looks. Then there was Mr. F's crystal gun that shot crystal blasts. There was also more mundane weapons, like the crystal spears, crystal swords, and translucent pink crystal katanas. Also, the mechanic's arm was given an upgrade, though that wasn't specifically unique to the Crystal Army. In terms of abilities, the Crystal Army has several. Firstly, due to them being made of Vin Stone, they negate the elemental powers utilized against them, plus hamper the ninja, even just by being close enough in proximity to them. Also, they can turn other beings like humans or Serpentine upon touch into crystal zombies, which have all the attributes of their creators. In terms of weaknesses, the Crystal Army, while otherwise invincible, can be destroyed by Oni's destructive elemental essence of destruction. Certain shielding techniques made by Pixel can do the same, though they are far less consistent, as can the dragon forms of the ninja. Without the Overlord's existence, they too shatter. Unlike the Stone Army, they don't persist in any meaningful way upon the Overlord's destruction, being almost entirely reliant upon him. In terms of colors and symbols, they are associated with the color black and translucent purple, and all bear the symbol of the Overlord. So, in conclusion, what can we learn from the Crystal Army? Well, first, we learn that evil can be infectious, as it spreads through groups of people who are susceptible to its influence, and who are reduced to little more than metaphorical zombies. We also learn that even the greatest team founded from evil is doomed to shatter like glass when its source is destroyed, no matter how strong they may seem. We must stand resistant against evil if we are to make this world an amazing place. I am Sensei the Dark Master, and join me next time on the Lore of Ninjago! Have a wonderful day and subscribe if you are interested in more of this sort of videos.